All right, guys, just adding another stock into the mix here. Microsoft, you guys already know. I tried to take this back on last Thursday for like a post IV crush play. I took like a 5 or 6K loss on this, trying to catch it off of this gap fill here at like 523. Haven't taken it off the watch list. I've actually been just kind of waiting for this since that loss, and I wanted to see this sell down into these daily equal lows. Right, you guys know I was talking about this back on September 12th. We basically built out a range here for about 35 days of equal lows occurring right at this gap fill at 508.68. This was the top of it, and then the actual fill itself was at 501. So I was virtually just looking to be a buyer off of this zone here, this little gray spot. As you guys can see though, along with the rest of the market, this is when QQQ broke the 50-day and everyone was super bearish last Friday. This did a same sweep, right, where it broke through the gap and essentially traded to this very, very large or macro higher low down here from September 5th. It's a little bit more obvious if you zoom out onto the weekly, but that was the last major swing low, right? We had a big breakout here for an all-time high. First major higher low, as I said, was right here, right? And then from there, this came down and virtually did a double bottom off of that higher low. And now, right, the chart looks really healthy. Obviously, the sell-off was initially on high volume. A lot of that was because of earnings, but this really sold down on decreased or pretty mitigated volume. It swept underneath, right? We saw the stagnation of the volume itself, which, for what could have been a lower low. If they were really trying to break structure here, they would have broken this higher low on high volume. Instead, we saw volume really dissipate down into the level. We had a nice candle spread here, and then virtually just reversed off of that one. And now, kind of the same thing I was looking at for Qs, right? We basically pushed back above 508, which is the top of the gap fill, and we obviously pushed through 501. So I'm really just looking for some kind of higher low now on the daily, right? Weekly obviously looks good. We need to see how that finishes out to the end of the week, but I would kind of just like a small pullback here down to 501, maybe even just like a starter at 508. And then looking for this to catch the higher low on the daily, right? And then look to obviously push and propel upwards and build out a nice little trend through a series of hourly, daily structure, right? Whatever it may be. Even a good weekly close would be nice on this as well. But just looking for this to push back up into 530.48. You guys kind of know the deal there. I expect passive sellers, so from there, probably get some kind of a sell-off, but would like to see another higher low formed out on the daily or some kind of high tight flag, right? And then a breach above 530, pullback base 530, and then just a kind of a push to finish this move out into 541. This chart looks really good. I've been talking about how the underexposure from hedge funds and CTAs is still really, really still critical, right? They're still under leveraged. If the market just continues to go higher, I think we're going to see a lot of the Mag 7 names that are underperforming or kind of below their MAs, right? Will start to kind of catch up. I think that's what will send Qs as well. I think, I did a video last night. Qs obviously still pressing up. I would still love for this to pull down into 510. Of course, with today's market closure, with bonds, not with the actual equities themselves, we saw less volume than normal, right? So today closed at an inside bar as expected. This still has a chance to sell down into 610 and then get the move back up, which is the most bullish case. We want to see a pull down and to fill that gap and then create some kind of daily higher low sequence there. If that were to happen, right, Microsoft, I assume, would pull down into this like 501 spot. And if it does that, right, I mean, I think I have kind of like a dual pronged trade here where I could, size pretty heavy into the 630 calls on QQQ, get to full size on that one, and then start sizing into Microsoft as well. But, either way, right, if the market does decide to rip and go all the way up into 632, probably lighter size would be garnered on Microsoft because this would just start to rip. That could give it a chance though. Let's say this starts to rip up into like 515, whatever the level may be. That would if Q starts to sell, this can pull down into 506, and then I would just kind of slowly build into this one and then risk 501 or maybe even just the 492 low. But yeah, this chart looks pretty good. Not gonna lie. From a VPA perspective, this looks really healthy. The fact that it didn't take out the swing low, we have the recovery on the daily back through 506 and 501. Really just need to be able to wait and be patient for some kind of pullback onto 506.65 into 501. Get a higher low on the daily, and then look for a move up into 530. It might take a little bit of time, So yeah, really interested in like the January 540 calls. I think those are kind of the sweet spot. They are a little bit expensive, but as always, right, that gives you the luxury to start and then add into structure as needed, right? And then obviously risk would still be around like 492 here. Um, yeah, just wanted to throw this on the list because I've been a big believer in Microsoft. Obviously, I took that loss on last Thursday. That was a really short dated thing, but now it's kind of set up here where we can take longer dated and then build into this position and then look for the move up into 541. Yeah, I think this chart is absolutely primed, especially with the recovery here of these daily equal lows. So that's going to be it, guys. Just wanted to add this one into the mix. Probably the only other one I'm watching besides QQQ. I know it's been kind of slow and boring. That's usually how it is, right? I mean, I'm up 25% on Qs. So, I mean, I'm up a pretty healthy amount, regardless with my trading activity, taking a small dive, if you will. But adding Microsoft in this would be really nice as well, just to have two trades here that I have high conviction on, and that will have really lucrative payouts. So that's going to be it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know if you guys have any questions, concerns. Just post them in the Discord or on the YouTube. As always, this will be traded in the Discord, so if you guys want to join, that's the way to kind of follow along with what I do. But yeah, this is the only other chart.